today, I want to talk about hearing loss and reading problems. So, competency in reading is going to go hand in hand with competency in language. And a lot of times there are language delays in children who have hearing loss. So that can lead to risk of reading deficiencies. In a study done, 25% of the students that they surveyed that had reading deficiencies also had mild to moderate hearing loss. Kids who had a third of the kids who were repeat offenders of ear infections, 1/3 of them had reading deficiencies. It's known that in education, deaf children are at risk of falling behind. It's possible that they could even not make it past a 3rd or 4th grade level. 10% don't even make it past an 8th grade reading level, but that's 10%. That's a very small amount. So that means that there's a whole large population of deaf people and deaf children who are capable of reading. All of them are capable of reading. So it's possible, but the most important thing is to get started early. That is proven to be the most beneficial, is to get a child with hearing loss into early intervention and help at school as much as possible. Teaching a child with hearing loss to read is going to require specific strategies. There are a few that have been proven to work. It's going to be very intense instruction for the child. It is so important, and they're going to have to work harder than their hearing peers in order to develop their reading strategies and their reading skills. The number one thing you have to do is base your teaching instruction off of the individual's receptive and expressive communication strengths. That way you're adding to their strengths and you're not depleting their self-esteem, and it's a lot easier for them to learn, especially if you're using their mode of communication, whether it be visual, SimCom, or oral. You need to make print a part of your everyday routine. Having labels around the house, or just going through your daily class routine if you're a teacher. We also have to keep in mind that language precedes literacy. So if a student does not have a strong foundation in language, they're not going to excel in literacy or especially written language. The last is that there has been a lot of studies done that children with hearing loss benefit extremely from starting to learn phonics and alphabetic principles and as early as pre-kindergarten. There is evidence that they are quite able to do it, and they excel at reading long term. Literacy instruction is responsive to language proficiency. So because of that, in school, language is explicitly taught and negotiated within the students. Literacy is also taught in interactive and strategic ways. Some of the ways or strategies that have supported reading with children with hearing loss include adding story maps, Venn diagrams, summarizing, adding pictures to the text, and rereading. In order to support your child's development of reading and incorporating reading into your life at home, you need to read as much as possible with your child. Have them listen and watch your face as you read. You need to be very expressive so they know how they should be when they're reading, either in their voice or with their own face. Ask questions about them. Make sure they're not just listening to you read, but they're actually understanding what's happening, because that's a huge part of literacy, is understanding and reading comprehension. The most important thing is, though, make it fun. The use of strategies shouldn't get in the way of the enjoyment of the story, or you spending time with your child. This needs to be fun, and it shouldn't be something that the child dreads, because reading is fun, especially for little kids. The child's main form of communication is signing. Make sure you're signing as you're reading. You don't want to omit that sign language. And start early. Start as early as you can. Kids can start enjoying books as early as 6 weeks old. They're picture books and usually board books, but that's when their vision sharpens. So studies have been shown that you can introduce books to your child as young as 6 weeks old. Just make sure that they're within 10 inches of the face. So those are some things that you can do at home, because it's really important that while they're getting the strategies and practicing during school, that continues home, so it's consistent. It's the same thing with any other discipline that you're doing in school: math, social studies, science. Anything that you're doing and practicing in school should be kind of carried into and continuing in home, especially if the child's struggling. I want to share with you some resources that can be really helpful in helping your child's development in their reading. So Gallaudet University has 2 great articles. One is a list of books from early childhood all the way to young adult that have deaf characters in them. This is super important because they may not be getting that representation in class, but at least you can bring it at home. Another list that they have is a great set of books that are about deaf culture for children. Deaf culture is a beautiful, beautiful culture, and it's important to introduce your child to this culture at a young age, and then they can decide how much they want to be a part of it or how much they don't. The University of Northern Iowa has a list of every single articulation possible in the English language, and when you click on it, it brings you to a list of books, just regular children's storybooks, that really emphasize that articulation. So it's a great resource to have, especially if your child's struggling in a particular phoneme or digraph or anything like that. This is a great website to go to kind of specifically target your library. So I will put those in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope it really helped, and